Hey, welcome back to another episode of Heavy Rotation, a tribute to Cleveland metal and beyond. In the studio tonight, we have a veteran of the Cleveland metal scene, played with many noteworthy bands, and still does to this day. Thank you for being here, Dan Baker.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, man.
So, hey man, we can just get right to what you currently have going on, man. I think quite a bit going on with Regurgitation, where you guys have been getting outside of Cleveland with other gigs, and you mentioned you have a gig in England coming up.
Yeah, we play the Awful Fest in Manchester, United Kingdom. I think that's the 24th of July. Yeah, the 24th of July. And it's funny because we play that's a Sunday, and then we fly back home on Monday, and then we have the Ohio Death Fest in Lakewood on Friday, the 31st of July. So it's going to be a little bit of a fun week for us, calendar week, but it'll be worth it, I guarantee it.
Very cool, man. Just fixing this chair a little bit. So, and then we'll come back to Regurgitation throughout the interview as well, of course. But aside from that, you're also playing with Limb Splitter, and I think Limb Splitter is playing Ohio Death Fest as well.
Yep, correct. Yeah.
Excellent. Limb Splitter with Kai now of Ovenhead.
Yeah. Kai has become the second guitar player. We're hoping that he's ready for the show. If not, we're gonna we'll have to play it without him. But hopefully he's good to go by then. That's the thing is you got people living all over the place. It's hard to get together and jam, on a consistent basis. But that's why we do it. We want to all get together and jam and have fun with our brothers. But it just doesn't work out that way with everybody's schedules. Most of us being, Kai's young. He's like 21. The rest of us are old men with families and mortgages and careers and stuff like that. But Kai's a good guitar player, and he'll get everything buttoned down hopefully in time for the show. If not, then he'll be playing the next one. But we're definitely going to be raring to go whether or not he's with us or not.
Right on, man. Hey, before we get too far in the interview, I want to say, let me adjust this mic for you just a scotch. Yeah, maybe just a bit closer, I think.
Maybe like that?
Let's see.
How's that?
Yeah, I think a little, like, you could be like kind of how I...
How about that?
Yeah,
like
that should be good.
All right,
yep.
That's cool.
And then I can adjust the volume more from the board. Yeah, so shout out to Kai. And then Rob, who's in Limb Splitter with you, is also playing bass in Ovenhead.
Yeah, Rob's killer, man. One of the best bass players on the planet, I think.
Yeah, man, he is. We had a short-lived little project recently with Kai and Nate from Sarcophagus, and then but I do remember that about Rob, that if you show him something, he can play it back to you pretty quick. Like, it's sort of like uncanny how good his ear is. So I was definitely really impressed with that. So shout out Rob. And then you're also doing Sodomized and Forged in Gore.
Yeah, Forged in Gore is me and Dylan, the other guitar player in Limb Splitter, started that band in Florida when I was living down there in 2010. And we've got like 14, 15 songs or something. We've never recorded anything, never released anything. So it's kind of our swan song. We want to put this album out, record all this stuff, and we're going to play a couple shows. We actually have a show in September with Cerebral Necrosis, Mutilatred, and gosh, I can't remember who else. That's because I've smoked too much weed in my life. But that's down in Youngstown at the West Side Bowl. So we're looking forward to that. And the Forge stuff is just, we want to do this because Dylan and I worked on this since 2010 when Dylan was 16. Now he's a grown man with a beard and a bald spot. So I mean, it's been a long time, and we need to get this stuff out. It's not like we're trying to, change the world with the band, but people need to hear the songs because they're really good songs.
I appreciate that insight into it. So, as you were saying, Forged in Gore is sort of a lot of the music was written by Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan wrote. Bob Limsplitter, Bob Buchanan, the guitar player from Limsplitter, he's got a couple riffs here and there, but like we had Bob and Dylan with a guitar team in both the bands, Limsplitter and Forged in Gore, and Bob wrote pretty much all the Limsplitter stuff except Rob Lesniak. He's got riffs in there, some really killer riffs actually in there, and I think Dylan has a riff or two in there too, but Bob wrote like 92% of it. And that's the same thing with Forged in Gore. Dylan wrote probably like 95% of it, with Bob throwing in a riff here or there. But like with Forged in Gore, we went through so many members, over the time that we did it. It was just not working out because we couldn't get a singer, blah, blah, blah. So it would just go to the wayside. And we just decided to bring it back because we were like, we want to put this stuff out. And Steve Pedley, the guitar player for Regurgitation now, was in Forged when we were last doing it. And we kind of put it to bed, and we were like, let's just get this recorded. And then the idea of, playing one show came up, and, that's pretty much why we're going to do that. And I mean, honestly, just because it's fun and it's easy. Our bands are like incestuous because we share members, but everybody writes different stuff. So the riffs are different. The horrible drumming is all the same because that's me. But I mean, the riffs are different because other people are writing them. So we just want to get this out. This thing Dylan and I have been like working on for almost 2 decades now. We want to try to get this thing out, but it's just easy using the guys that we already have at my house, because we're already practicing Limsplitter. So that's why Rob stepped in to play bass, and Joe, the singer for Limsplitter, stepped in to do vocals, just so we don't have to schedule a different practice day, so to speak, because my poor wife, she has to put up with a lot with 4 bands,
Yeah, that's it's shout out to all the death metal girlfriends and wives that foster this crazy music that we love so much. I did have Joe. That's funny. I was just because you see people's names and it was Joe Anthony. I even had that on like my promo. He's like, oh, it's Joe Reed. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, Joe Reed. Yeah, he was here, and he had mentioned that he's doing the vocals. At the time, he just said, doing the vocals for the recording.
Yes.
I think the show maybe hadn't been announced yet. So, yeah, that's rad. Actually, that's news to me. I didn't know that Rob was doing bass on it. But yeah, like you said, that makes sense because, you guys are all in the same circle. And
oh, yeah. Yeah, and I'm getting older. I'm going to be 50 next year. I've had health problems as of late. I got a heart monitor in me that's permanent now. And you never know when you're not going to be able to do it anymore. So it's just one of the main things my doctor said is try to reduce stress. And it's the easiest way to do it. Just have the same guys that are pretty much already in-house. And that's the thing, because like the main thing for me is I try to just be efficient with my time because I work so much. I want to spend time with my wife, and I still want to jam. So you have to try to figure out how can I do this in the most efficient way without having because scheduling band practice is like the worst thing about being in a band. It's like you're all friends, you all want to hang out together and stuff, but when can you? When you're young and you're 20, like Kai's age, it's great. I miss those days. He's got responsibilities, of course, but he doesn't have the responsibilities that we do, where we had, families and mortgages and all that stuff. And, Kai doesn't have all that on his plate yet. So those days were easy. Oh, we can jam every night. You know what I mean? But when you're an old man, it's kind of hard. Not only that, but I have to be in bed by 9 o'clock so I can, get up at 5 in the morning, have my coffee at McDonald's before I go to work.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, because we had an interview with Mulciber. Well, they were on Zoom, and then
I love those guys. They're so cute.
They're funny, man. If you look on, well, I think I could say that. If you go and you watch that video, on you. Well, yeah, you're gonna have to watch it to see what I'm talking about. Like as opposed to listening on Spotify.
Does Dan
Just-
Gates take his shirt off?
No, no. But
Oh,
just
bummer.
look at Bill's. Look at the name he put for. He didn't put his real name. He put he put a funny like name and said I didn't catch it until I was like editing the video. Not that like I care. Not that it needs to be edited out, but yeah, they have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, they do. Those guys are great, man. Aaron Gall played guitar in Limb Splitter for a while before he got his new job. He took when Bob left, we got Aaron to play guitar, and Aaron's a phenomenal musician. But obviously, the distance was an issue, and he started a new job, and so it didn't quite work out. I think he played a show or two with us, which was killer. So he's a brother, he's family. Well, all those guys are. They're just fantastic human beings and musicians.
Yeah, one thing I felt was worth mentioning. Oh yeah, talking about Mulciber, that since Dan Gates, from a whole slew of band, a lot of people would know him from working with Ton,
Hell yeah, 2,000 pounds, man. I love Ton.
right? But I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, because like, do you do landscaping work?
Yeah, I did for 32 years, and I just retired from landscaping, and now I took the easy way out. I'm not doing management. I just do lawn fertilization now, and it's the best decision I've made in quite some time. It's a lot easier on me.
Oh, okay, right on. I guess, okay, so maybe the timing of me making this connection is not quite lining up, but I just I know you guys are both both Dans, both involved in death metal, Cleveland death metal, and then
And Studley
both,
landscapers.
yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like I know
I mean, he's a hot Uncle Jesse, and I'm more like a goofy Joey, but still, I mean, we still both had a lot of similarities there,
yeah, he's awesome, man. Like really like soft spoken guy, like very very humble.
He's a gentleman
kind of guy. He is.
He's a gentleman. He's a very, very good person.
And then I saw he just did some thing with Cleveland Browns or something. I was like, wow, that's cool, dude. Like, I don't know what it is, but probably no death metal on it. But it was just like you could see he was there filming. They were filming him playing guitar.
Yeah,
or
and
something.
it showed like his silhouette of him, and it's like anybody that knows Dan Gates, they're like, dude, that's Dan. I mean, it's really cool. It's nice that he's so active because he's such a good guy and such a great musician. I'll always miss Ton. I mean, I love that band. That was Cleveland, Ohio scene has had tons of great bands, but in my opinion, Ton was like the most underrated because they were so good. And back in the day, it was like Regurg. Back in the day, nobody really people liked Regurgitation, but now it's like a lot more than what it was back in the day. And now like all these people coming out of the woodwork, oh, Ton was so killer. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. And, Dan had obviously a big part of that. I mean, he's just been around forever. He doesn't look like it. I mean, he's still so goddamn good looking for his age. You know what I mean? It's like everybody looks at him and we're like, "Durr," save some. Well, I can't say that for the rest of us, bro.
Hey, man, not to gas you up or whatever, but like I remember, it's been a while since I've seen you, like, since like, we would run into each other at Rock and Roll City. I mean, you seem like you slimmed up a bit. I don't know, maybe just from working so hard or what it is. Like,
well, I had some health issues, and I was taking some steroids to, help my body, battle this disease that I have, and I put on 60 pounds, so I had to lose that weight, and then I ended up, gaining it back again. So I was 263, and right now I'm about almost 200 pounds. So try to walk 30,000 steps a day. I just eat a lot better. I try to eat more heart healthy and all that, and take better care of myself. I just, especially now, it's like, I love my kids, but they moved out, and my wife and I mean, we're ready to spread our wings like a peacock and just fly, you know what I mean, and enjoy ourselves. So that's what we're trying to do. But yeah, I appreciate it. You noticed a lot of people have, and it's kind of cool. It makes you feel good, that people notice all your hard work that you put in trying to get down to that. But you reach that point where you're like, man, I'm old. I'm starting to enjoy myself. I don't have to worry about money that much anymore because my situation's stable, and I want to enjoy myself, and I want to be around for a while.
Yeah, definitely, man. And it is nice to get the recognition because it takes a long time of consistency to whatever the goal is. Like, if you're just trying to get jacked, or like even just like lose some weight and keep it off. Yeah, right. It's not happening in just a month, or even it takes quite a while. Yeah, and then I remember seeing you post something about that, like the 30,000 steps a day, and then I was just sort of like joking, like, well, does it count when you is it tracking your double base?
Yes, it does.
And okay, yeah, so yeah, I wanted to confirm that with you, that you weren't like joking back with me. But yeah, that's rad, dude.
Oh yeah, and that's what's cool is because I'll be at work. By the time I'm done with work, I'll have my 30,000 in, and then, Steve will come over for band practice or whatever, and I'll get like another 5,000, 7,000 on top of that. So like band practice days, I'll get almost 40,000 steps, which obviously I don't count those because I'm not, it's exercise, and I'm sweating, horribly sweating, smelling really bad. So it is exercise, but it's not like actual work. But I guess muscle memory. It's pretty easy actually playing drums when you do it as much as I do.
Yeah, and then to that point, being that you're involved with, for, is that those four, sodomized, regurgitation, limb splitter, and forged and gore? Would that be do you have any other projects at the moment? Or?
No, I'm done. I actually need to weed some out. No, I'm just joking. I mean, that's the thing is it's too much. Like my poor wife, every once in a while, she's like, because I'm like, hey, honey, because we live together, it's our house, and I ask her because she's my wife, and I actually, if she doesn't want me to have practice for whatever reason, I'll tell the guys, hey, no. So I try to schedule. I'm like, hey, honey, can we jam on Thursday? And she's like, who? Which band? A certain band, she's like, yes. Other bands, she's like, no. Like Rob. Rob does not wear earplugs. Rob's deaf. So Rob turns his bass up real loud, right? So it drives my wife nuts and my neighbors nuts. They know when Rob is over. You know what I mean? Because like everybody else wears earplugs, and so it's a lot quieter when it's not limb splitter. I mean, and it's a good thing that Rob's such a great bass player, but yeah, I mean, Steve can't hear either. He's deaf. He talks loud as hell, just like Chris Dora does. But Steve wears earplugs now, so he turns down. Do you wear ear protection when you jam? Because I know I do, and it took like a month for me to get used to it, but I can't play without it now.
I definitely do. I paid, they're not super expensive, but they probably cost like $50. They're called, actually sounds like it could be the name of some like brutal death metal band. They're called Eargasm.
Yeah, I have those. Yeah,
right. Like those are good, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a little thing that goes on my keychain, and like I'll wear those if I go to see a show too.
Yep, me too.
They do a good job of Well, that's enough. You don't get any. Send us some free earplugs, and we'll talk about it more. But yeah, those work good, right?
I wear those. I wear earplugs. Not saying the brand, and I actually wear headphones too, noise canceling headphones, and it makes it easier for me. I wear them live too, and I know the earmuffs or your headphones don't look cool on stage. I don't care about looking cool. It's metal. I mean, there's grown men up there in skin tight jeans wearing a bullet belt that think that look cool. You know what I mean? But to each his own, right?
So that's cool that you mentioned that. I saw, I want to say it might have been from, it was something for you with regurgitation, maybe both shows of Columbia or LA, but that you did have headphones on, however you want to say. So that I was wondering then, do you use like a click to start the? Okay, I figured not during the song, because like when you listen to the recordings, you can tell it has a bit of like ebb and flow to it. Like it's not that like tech death, like but like I was just curious if you might use it like if you have like a tempo to start the song or it's.
I'm a horrible musician. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm just now learning to play with a click track. And the reason how I'm learning is so Tony writes a regurgitation song or Steve writes a song. And what they do is they'll put generic drum tracks to it so I can get a song in my head. Because we don't, Tony doesn't live here. He lives down, in between Columbus and Cincinnati. So he'll send me this song. We'll send everybody this song that's got the generic drum tracks, which I end up changing. And so you get it in the head. You get the riffs in your head. And then he'll send me, and Steve does the same thing, just the guitar tracks with a click track. So that's what I practice to. And I'm just now getting to the point where I can rein in my tempos because Steve and Tony are like, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. You got to let the riff breathe, which even being a drummer, I'm a riff guy. Riffs are the most important part of music to me, especially metal. So they're right. If I speed it up too fast, sometimes the riffs, they sound muddy. Where if you play it slow, then that riff it throws you in a meat grinder. So that's what I've been working on a lot over the past couple of years is trying to rein things in so that the songs sound more consistent and makes me a better musician, but also the guys don't want to beat me up.
Yeah, I've kind of I think it's a real double-edged sword, like I don't know, in my opinion, I think it's good to practice things to a click and then record it that way if need be. But like it's just a product, in my opinion, it's just a product of like the times we're living in. Because if you think about like classic albums, like of Malevolent Creation or Cannibal Corpse or
yeah, like the first couple Cannibal albums, they were chaotic and there was no click.
Right. Exactly. But then you got to think like those dudes were probably in the practice room like possibly every day of the week or like it's a difference in like it's almost like you can't put it into words or something. It's just like when you've played that same song with people like so many times and then maybe like it gets to this one part and the tempo is sort of like gradually speeding up, but like you've experienced that in the jam room together like hundreds of times. It's like of course you're gonna nail it, and it's just like magic.
Oh yeah, well that's one of the things. Like you said, it's cool to like me practicing to a click track on my own, but then when the guys come to the jam room, we play together. As long as I can stay in that realm of where the song's supposed to be, then it can have a little bit of that ebb and flow to it, and it's going to be tight. As long as I don't get all stupid with it, you know what I mean? Because playing live, obviously, you get the adrenaline going. So sometimes, they call it like graveyard speed, because they've been calling me Graveyard Danny Baker for years, thanks to Matt Bishop from Levidity, Human Artifacts now. But they'll call it, graveyard speed because I just get jacked, and so I'll play it stupid fast, and the song doesn't sound as good as it's supposed to, and that's my fault. And I'm trying to correct that. And it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, especially since you've been doing something for, over 3 decades a certain way, and you're trying to make yourself better now. It's difficult, but it's it's a challenge. It's actually I'm getting there, and it's, the guys that I jam with, they notice and they're appreciative, so that's cool.
Right on, man. And then on that note of, like you've been doing this for 3 decades, when we were just meeting up today, you had mentioned playing your first gig with, I think Odious was still called Gaffed.
Gutted.
Oh, Gutted. Yeah. Sorry to confuse it with other band. Yeah, with Gutted. And
Decrepit.
And that was with Chris Dora.
Oh yeah, Dora was playing drums. Tom Rojak, I think, was like newly in the band because he was in Blood of Christ first, and he was in the band. And I remember looking over, and I looked up to these guys because I was going to shows and watching them play before Sodomized ever played our first show, And I was watching, Fig, the guitar player and, founding member of Sodomize with me and my brother Joe. He was in a band called Disembodied. So we go to Flashes and I'd watch these guys. And I was a kid, I was like 13, 14, whatever. And I'm watching all these guys on stage and I'm like, wow, these guys are awesome. And, this is the music I love and they're playing it and they play it so well. And my first show playing with them, and I had these mirrors lined up on the wall next to me. And so I saw them on my right side and my left side in the mirrors. And it was like kind of, almost like too much for me to handle being a kid, doing it. But Tom Rojak with his tongue hanging out, spitting beer out of his mouth at me and stuff. It was awesome. It was cool. But yeah, it was like nerve wracking. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to screw up every song, which I only screwed up like, maybe all of them except one. But
so, was Sodomized you said it was the first time you were on stage. Was that your first band?
No, I'd had bands like, in, high school, or middle school with friends and stuff like that. We played cover songs. And my brother Joe is 2 years older than me. And, he's the one that really got me into, playing metal and stuff like that because he turned me on to Black Sabbath. And, I'm one of the rarities where I got to hear Megadeth and Slayer before Metallica. So when I heard Metallica, I was like, I don't care about these guys. They're nowhere near as good as these other bands, So everybody's like, oh, you like Metallica? I'm like, no, I don't. But no, I heard those other bands first and I love them. So I'd play with my brother and we'd do like Slayer covers and stuff like that. And it turned out, Fig was playing in a band called Disembodied and their drummer, was death metal, but their drummer couldn't do double bass and he couldn't blast. So my brother kind of like, hey, you should meet my little brother. And then kind of that's how Sodomized came, which I couldn't really blast very well when we started Sodomized. But, it definitely, that was like 93. I think we did our first demo in 93 and it was, I think it's horrible, but I think almost everything I'm on is horrible, but it was definitely not that good. We've come a long way since, and especially now since 2026 and we're writing new songs still. I mean, hopefully people like them, but I mean, they're definitely a lot more intense.
So with Sodomized, what was the original lineup?
It was Eric Newton, Fig, was guitar and vocals. My brother Joe played bass, and I played drums.
Okay, right on. And then does your brother, is he still involved with music currently?
He still plays. I mean, he lives in L.A., and he's lived in L.A. for over the past 20 years. His daughter just graduated high school, so he's moving to Washington. He still plays. He still jams all the time. And we used to do Sodomized reunion shows where he would fly up once a year, and we would just do a reunion show with my brother either playing guitar or bass, because my brother moved to guitar, and Brian Baxter, the bastard, I can say that right because that's his name.
Yeah, we can.
Right, but the bastard, he came in and played bass, so my brother moved from bass to guitar, and so he would come, and he's done reunion shows with us both on bass and guitar, just because. And whoever's in Sodomized at the time, doesn't care. They're like, oh yeah, heck yeah, have Joe come, that's cool. Let him play the show, because he's a great guy. Everybody loves him, and it's just kind of cool to do that every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, particularly if he was the OG, one of the original people, like that. That's definitely, I think, always preferable, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. As far as what we can say, I mean, I don't know. The words some of them are sort of funny to me, but like, yeah, you can you could say bastard if you want to. That's fine. So anyway, like, okay. So then with Sodomized, I think in how would you say, in chronologically, would Regurgitation be the next project you were involved with?
Yeah. Sodomized was first. I started that in like 93. I think I joined Regurg in like 97 or 98. And then Tales came out in 99. And then I moved to Florida. And I stopped jamming for a while, and I met Dylan. Dylan was like 16. I was like in my mid-30s, and we started Forged and Gore in like 2010. And then I moved back up here in 2012, I think, and then that's when I started Limb Splitter.
Right on, man. And then so I just want to clarify with you really quick. So, did you know Dylan when you were in Florida, or that was after you moved back to Cleveland? He was up here.
I met him down there, and it was actually kind of funny because I met Dylan because I had quit playing metal because my kids were little, and it was just I had 3 of them, and it wasn't feasible, I didn't have time or money because, as you know, being a musician, it's not cheap. So it came a point in time where my ex-wife was like, I hate you. I would hate you a lot less if you had a hobby. So why don't you start jamming again? No, I'm just joking. She didn't say that, but she was like, you should start jamming again. So I hooked up with these guys in Fort Myers, which was like 45 minutes away from where I was living, and everybody just wanted to play metalcore. And me being a death metal guy, I was like not into it. So I finally, I was cruising on Craigslist or whatever, and I found a grindcore band that was literally 3 streets over from where I was at. And I was like, no way. So I got to meet these guys. Well, it turned out their name was The Power of the Lion. Well, that wasn't going to work, right? So I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But Dylan was in that band. And he was 16, and Dylan was getting in trouble all the time, for smoking weed and drinking beer. And his mom is just an angel of a woman. She reined him in and pretty much ground him. But she knew this husband and wife who were in this band together and let Dylan jam with them. So that was why he was jamming with them. So I ended up joining that band for a short amount of time. And then Dylan and I started playing together. And I was like, dude, he was a black metal kid at that time. He was into brutal stuff, but he was like really into black metal. I was like, you can write some sick riffs, right? And he's like, I've never tried, He's like, I've just been playing what they write, and I'm really into black metal. I was like, dude, you can write some Devo stuff, and we started Forged and Gore like literally that next week. He came to my garage. It was like 110 degrees. We had a dryer in our garage in Florida, and it was going because my ex-wife was washing my kids' clothes. It was so hot, and we wrote Forged and Gore songs, and that's how that started. And then when I moved here in 2012, Dylan was like, dude, can I come up there too? And I was like, you can. I'd love to have you up here, And so Dylan, moved up here too.
Hey, that's rad, man. Like, I love being here in Cleveland, but I appreciate it more because I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years. So like when during COVID, of course, we all had a lot of time to reflect on our lives,
Oh yeah.
On, good or bad, But my wife and I were like, yeah, my wife wanted to have a house. And I said, well, doing that in Cleveland would be a good idea. It's a way to even have a house in Los Angeles. Just for a goof, we were looking in neighborhoods like South Central or Compton, or just like notoriously like unsafe neighborhoods, and they were like $300K, so you figure that out pretty quick. Like, yeah. So anyway, like, that's cool that he was like, I guess you guys had a pretty tight friendship and musical bond that he was like, yeah, I'm gonna move to Cleveland with you, man.
Yeah,
or like you know what I mean?
I used to call him my son friend. Because he was like, I looked out for him kind of. I mean, even though he was a giant, we call him the Slam Squatch, right? Because Dylan's a big dude. But yeah, I looked out for him and all that stuff, and he's one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. And it sucks that he moved to Detroit for his job, which I give him all the credit in the world because he's running his own division of the company he works for in Detroit, and good for him. At his age to be doing that and be able to do that. But man, do I miss seeing that dude all the time. And he even has a bedroom at my house where my wife and I, because my wife and I, we're not the most outgoing people. We don't like having people over all the time. There's only certain people, and my wife loves Dylan so much that Dylan has his own room in my house. So when he comes for band practice, if he doesn't stay the night, my wife's not too happy. She's like, really? You're going home? It's kind of funny.
That's rad, man. Yeah, Dylan always has a smile on his face. He's always just a really good dude, and a great guitarist as well. And then quick opportunity to give a little shout out to our buddy Don Wolf, who's doing Kernagia now. I don't know if I said it right now.
Yeah, you
said it right. Okay, Kernagia.
At least that's the way I've been saying it.
And yeah, right. In place of Dylan. that he moved out of state. Don's a killer guitar player. I went to middle school with Don. And he was just like getting into like Sepultura and stuff, like, we were like listening to stuff like that. And then there was a kid that we had a mutual friend that I will say my best friend lived right across the hall from this kid that Don would hang out all the time with. And that kid's dad was like would like take him to like Deicide shows and all this, like
That's
he was
awesome.
just like a cool like death metal dad. And they had a whole drum kit in this apartment like up on risers. I don't know how they ever got away with it because it was not on the ground floor.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I think that kid's name was like Mike. I can't remember. But yeah, man, I remember Don way back in middle school, man, and then, or just keeping up with people over the years, and then that's like, unfortunately, Facebook can really be a bummer, but I think it's good in the way that you keep up and you see how people grow. Like I started seeing stuff with Don, like, oh, Don's in Balmer, and seeing these videos, and he's just like, man, dude, this dude's like a ripping guitarist now, dude. So
Yeah, it is. I mean, he is. He's great guitar player, and that was the thing when, Dylan. Dylan wanted to keep doing. I call Kernuggets. He wanted to keep doing Nuggets, but the distance was obviously too much, and he felt that he was holding him back. So when it came to where they were like, man, we really wish Dylan still lived here, but what should we do? And I actually, was talking to Paul, and I was like, Dylan would understand if you guys found somebody else. And I think it was like a weight was lifted off Dylan's shoulders because he didn't feel like he was letting them down or leaving them. When they were able to, get Don into the fold, it was like, okay, well, Don can take over. And so Dylan didn't have, because it's stressful, playing in a band. Like, oh man, these guys are relying on me. They're relying on me. And if I can't make it, or heck, if I'm just too tired because I've worked all week and I don't want to drive 2 hours to Cleveland for band practice, you know what I mean? So I think it was kind of like a weight was lifted off Dylan's shoulders a little bit, even though, I know he misses it and he loves the band, but he is definitely happy that it's Don, that's doing it, because, I mean, Don's a killer guitar player. He'll do it justice. And, but I know those guys miss Dylan. I just hung out with them. We went to go see Nativity in Black, that Black Sabbath tribute band. So we're hanging out at Joe Reed's house, or, Italian Joe with his sleeve, but we were hanging out at Joe's house, and Don was there, and it was kind of cool because everybody's like, man, yeah, we miss Dylan, but it's cool that we got Don. And that is, it's like a family. The whole scene is like a family for the most part. I mean, you've got your nuts here and there, you've got your real cool ones, you got your weird uncle, you got everybody. The whole scene is just like this huge family.
yeah, man, for sure. And I think the Nativity in Black is like basically Ringworm with just, I'm not sure who does the vocals, because I think it's like the Matt Sorg, and then I don't know the bassist's name.
Ed Stevens.
Yeah, Ed Stevens, who plays bass for Ringworm. And then I want to say it's like their current drummer too. His name's like Grady, I think. Or maybe it's a different drummer.
The drummer for Nativity in Black. I think his name is Grady.
Yeah, so yeah.
Younger fella? Like a younger fella? Yeah. I mean,
So
he's
it's-
killer too. I mean, they're phenomenal.
I'll have to check that out sometime.
Oh, definitely worth it, man. They play deep cuts. That's the thing, is they play a lot of songs. Like my favorite Sabbath song is After Forever, and they used to they'd open up with Supernaut and then they'd play that, and I was like, oh yeah, the last show they didn't play it, but they did play Trashed, and I think they played Neon Nights too. Like, so they do a little bit of Dio stuff too, which I'm an Ozzy Sabbath guy. I prefer that. I mean, I love Dio Sabbath as well, but it's just not the same. You know what I mean? It's like they switched their writing style when Ozzy left, which it was still cool, but it wasn't as dark in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting to hear how it went that way, but yeah, it's certainly not as it's not as dark sounding. It's like it was. It's not like poppy in any way, but it's a for lack of a better term, it's a bit brighter sounding. Like It's not glam metal, but it's not. Yeah, it was different. I think it had to be to go with Dio.
I agree. I mean, I agree. That's why it's kind of cool. Like, it's like I always refer to Dio with Sabbath as heaven and hell. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's the same band, but it's not to me. You know what I mean? It's the same band, but it's not. I still love it, but it's Ozzy Sabbath is Ozzy. You know what I mean? It just, even though Ozzy, like, everybody's like, Ozzy was such a great songwriter, but it was like, no, Geezer wrote some killer lyrics. I don't know how Ozzy remembered them on all those drugs, but I mean, like, there were some killer lyrics that Ozzy was just, I think Eric Book is the one that gave me the line. He was like, Ozzy was the greatest parrot in music history because they'd write the stuff and have him do it, and he did it. You know what I mean?
I fully believe that. I think, it's a miracle that he could function, but I don't know. You got to wonder about some of these people, like, rest in peace. To Ozzy too, but with Dimebag, it's like, I guess when you've just been playing music your whole life and it's your whole life, then you can get away with just doing what is it, Black Tooth Grin, doing a shot of whiskey with just a splash of like drinking that way and like being like but then still just going on and ripping it. It's just dude was probably blacked out half the time, but just still
muscle memory, I guess.
Exactly,
man,
right? It's just like
the old guitar player in Regurgitation, Ben Deskins. He was like that, but Brutal Ben, we called him, and he was hilarious. But he would always he didn't drink beer. He only drank liquor. And he would literally have his Jack and Coke, which was just Jack with maybe a little splash, and he nailed everything every time. He was always right on the money. Now, I have a couple beers to loosen up before I play, but I can't, if I get, we smoked Moon Rocks once before we played a show in Tiffin, and we all train wrecked, like, 3 Limb Splitter songs because we were just ripped. And we were like, okay, we're never doing that again. But Ben could get on stage just like Dimebag Darrell and just totally out inebriated, but he could go up there and just nail every note. It was nuts.
Yeah.
At least we don't have to worry about that with Steve because Steve doesn't drink. And the new guitar player in Sodomized, Mike Joseph, right? That used to sing. He sang for Mulciber for a little while.
We're just like buddies on Facebook where he added me.
He's a great guy. He's a new guitar player in Sodomized, and that dude, I don't think he drinks very much either. I mean, I've seen him have a beer every once in a while. Well, that guy is like another one of those people. He's just like spot on all the time,
He seems really cool. Like just from like I see what things he posts and then just
great guy.
A little bit of interaction we've had. And I saw him post stuff where he's hanging out with you, so I was like, okay, yeah, I think he's probably doing something with Dan. That's why I asked you earlier if you had any other projects, but. Okay, so Mike Joseph is doing Sodomized.
Yeah.
Hey, on the note of like remembering things, so between your 4 current projects, I would imagine with some of these songs you've just been playing them so long, like particularly like Sodomized or Regurgitation. I guess even Forged in Gore. Well, we'll say it this way: none of these are like. Just started this year, like you've been doing these bands for a long time. So is it mostly pretty easy for you, like you have the songs internalized, or how are you managing that, between 4 different projects?
Honestly, it's weird because like we'll sit down, we hadn't played the Forge songs. Dylan and I just went over them for the first time in over 2 years. We ran over the Limb Splitter set because Limb Splitter's got obviously the Ohio Death Fest coming up, and it's just me and Dylan, and we're like, do you want to try to do these? Because we hadn't played them in 2 years, and I couldn't tell you how a song went. I hadn't listened to them or anything, and it's weird because you don't. And then I do that 4 count on the snare, and it's comes back, man. It's weird. It's just so weird. Every once in a while, you'll play through like 5 songs, like Flawless, then you'll get to a song, and you're like, I can't remember what comes next. You'll play halfway through it, and you're like, what's next? And then and then. He'll be like, oh, it's this. Oh, yeah, okay, you know what I mean? And then you jump back in. But, yeah, it's weird because my memory is horrible. It just is. I've had ADHD since I was a kid, and I'm always moving. It's like I cannot relax or settle down. And I'm all over the place. But for some reason, I can remember these songs. And, even when I think I can't. Like when I go on stage before a show, I can't remember any song on the set list. I'm like, man, how does this go? Because I get nervous before every show. That's just who I am. I'm like, man, I can't remember these songs, and we've been practicing them, all this time. But when it comes down to it, yeah, it just all comes right back to me. It's weird.
It's there. Yeah, I think I think if you don't get on stage and you're like not just a little bit nervous, then you're not really. I don't know. I guess it's different for everybody, but I think a little bit of anxiety is maybe not a bad thing because you're like, yeah, man, I want this to be good.
Yeah.
All the people like you guys went out to California, regurgitation. My friend Jordan, I don't know if he'll hear this, but Jordan Rubel, he was I was seeing him posting stuff about being at that show at like a VFW hall, I think it was, right?
Yeah, it was. Honestly, that was the best show of my entire career.
Hell yeah, man.
It was just nuts.
But like that's when you go and you play. Well, I think that's gonna be the same for underground death metal band or like Metallica, whatever. Like it's a lot of work. It's working class people at your show. Maybe something like Metallica, whatever. You got some really rich people in the front area or whatever. Like those tickets aren't cheap. But for the most part, yeah, like man, we should never forget like who we're playing for and like how like they got so many other choices they could do, like they could do with their money, with their time to it's not always easy to like go to a show either, like just to get there and then like what's a parking situation and blah blah blah, so but yeah, from everything I saw, it seemed like you guys killed it out there. And then yeah, you were in Colombia recently. How did that come to be? Like, do you have promoters that'll just reach out to you guys?
Well, it's when Rieger's kind of got back together, and started. We pretty much, there was always offers floating around from different promoters, like, hey, we want you guys to play this fest, and it's, like I said earlier, we're all older now, with mortgages and careers and all that. It's hard to line everybody up. That's one of the reasons why Ben, stepped aside. Our guitar player / second vocalist Ben kind of stepped aside, and because he wasn't able to do it. So me, Tony, and Brian were like, we got to get somebody that can do this, because we had a lot of offers from promoters that are like, we'll fly you out to this fest, we'll fly you out to this fest, but and we wanted to do it. We're not getting any younger. So then Steve played in Regurgitation years ago when Ben and Tony both quit in like the late 90s. And so we tried out, Mike Joseph, who's playing in Sodomize now, and he was amazing. But Mike lives in Youngstown. Steve lives down the street from me. So Steve and I literally practice at least once a week. And Steve was like, yeah, I want to do this. So we're like, okay, so let's start entertaining offers. So we turned down way more than we actually accept, because one of the things about it is if you do something too often, it's not special. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, is like we try to play like maybe 4 or 5 shows a year, and only one of those being like local or like in the Ohio area or in Cleveland, whatever. And the rest of them we try to make them somewhere. So it's somewhere special for the fans. Because I'm the same way. Like, there's tons of bands I love, but I mean, I've seen them a million times. So when it comes down to crunch time, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna stay home, man. I'm tired. I've seen them 6 times, in the past year or whatever. You know what I mean? And so we figure when these offers come, we weigh them out. We're like, dude, can we do this? Can we not do this? And we've had to turn down shows because Tony's daughter was graduating, or somebody's got a wedding or something, because we're all older. But yeah, and that's the thing, is because I think 2027, we've already got some really good things in the works for that I can't really talk about now. But I mean this year we've got the Ohio Death Fest. Right before that, we've got England, and we've got a show. I think we got one more show in Texas, I believe, in August. And I think we have a show coming up in November. I can't remember where the hell that is. And that's it for the year. And that's it. And other than that, it's like, it's kind of weird because people seek us out and they all, give us good offers. And we're like, yeah, because for years I lost money playing metal. I can't tell you how much money I've lost playing metal over my career. It's ridiculous. But I'm not making money with Regurg, but I mean, well, yeah, I kind of am because, everybody's paying for, the promoters are paying for everything and we're coming on with money in our pockets. So I guess I'm winning. It took 30-something years, but.
Sure, man. I have the album still or the, how do you want to say? We were playing Regurgitation, Tales of Necrophilia. Says it was released in 99.
Yeah.
So now we're in 2026.
Yeah.
And, takes a while, I guess, right? But, I mean, I would say that probably goes with the territory because, it's underground music, right?
Yeah.
So, at some point, whatever it is, there's some shift in the collective, like, musical tastes or whatever it is, it's something, a particular album catches on. I guess it's fair to say it's that album.
Yeah, it's
that
crazy.
is the one.
It's
right?
crazy, and we don't understand either that all of a sudden it became popular and people wanted to hear it. We're happy as hell that they do.
Right.
But one thing that I can say with the utmost confidence is, I mean, we've got new songs already, and we're working on more. So a new album is coming, whether it's an EP album, whatever we decide to do. But new material is getting written, and we're playing new songs live currently, and there's more new songs that are going to be added to the live set here, coming up. So we are definitely working it now, and it feels good. It feels real good.
Right on, man. I'm happy for you, brother. So, with Limb Splitter, now that you guys have, well, I think you sort of answered that earlier. Let me walk this back a sec. So I was going to ask you if you guys have new material there, but you had kind of mentioned that it seemed like what's most important now is just getting Kai, new guitarist Kai, up to speed for the upcoming gigs.
Yeah, correct. Anakin Kaiwalker. He's a great guitar player, good kid. I mean, you jammed with him.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously he's got Ovenhead and that's his baby. We totally understand that and everything. But getting together, we haven't helped him out or put him in the best place to succeed because getting together to jam, like, me, Dylan, Rob, and Joe can get together and go through the set in a half hour, boom, boom, whatever, no problem. But honestly, we got to get him up to speed, and we all have to do a better job getting him there because the Limb Splitter songs were written by Bob Buchanan for 2 guitars, and him and Dylan, did that very well. And there's no doubt in my mind that Kai, isn't going to be able to, Kai's going to make that happen too. Just, it's getting into crunch time. It's a little scary right now. We're going to do it no matter what, but I hope he's able to do it. But I don't want to put too much pressure on him. I mean, he's a great dude, great kid. It's crazy. My youngest child is 22, and I think Kai's 21. It's like, man, I'm old as hell.
Yeah, no, he is, man. Shout out to Kai. Yeah, he's really into doing the squeals, but I can't remember how he calls it. Like, yeah, a lot of his riffs are like, I think he called it like a micro squeals or micro. I don't know. He has like a name for it, but like, yeah, he's really, really tight player. Really, yeah, really good technique. He would kind of drive me crazy though, because his amp would just feedback nonstop. I was like,
he doesn't do that now. He doesn't have that issue now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he doesn't have that issue now, and it's kind of cool because, like, Rob's jamming in Ovenhead with him, and obviously Rob is an amazing musician and a good dude, and Rob's got a heart of gold. He's a great father, and I think he's kind of taken that kind of Kai under his wing, kind of like I did with Dylan. Not like I needed to take Dylan under my wing, but you know what I mean, kind of like adopted him in that sense, and so he's helping Kai along, and Kai's probably helping him along too in some ways, but I mean, it's kind of cool because, it's only going to get better. And, from here on out, I think, as far as everything goes, because our main thing is once Kai learns the set, then we can jam more often because we don't need Dylan to physically come to have band practice.
I see.
Because he doesn't have to. I just need one guitar player, damn it. I don't need him. I mean, it's nice having Rob there and having Joe there, but I mean, for me to play the songs, I just need a guitar player, and that's all I want to do. But it is nice because, Rob, they'll usually come every Sunday, and, Rob and Joe are, steady as steady can come. But, Dylan runs his own business. Well, it's not his business. He runs a business for a large company. So he's got a lot on his plate. So none of us hold that against him. We understand. But we definitely miss having him here. That's for sure.
Yeah. Right on, man. So, yeah, and then with Forged in Gore, there's new material that will be released, I think, soon with Joe on vocals.
Yeah, it's going to be... I mean, it's pretty cool because, we've had so many singers and so many bass players in that band. It's ridiculous. I've lost count. And they've all been great people, you know what I mean? But just the band would always fall to the wayside. And then it's like, we're not going to do this anymore. And then we get a wild hair up our butts and we're like, all right, let's do it. What's the easiest way to do this? What's the easiest possible way to do this? Like the old, we had John Neal, who's been in some, John's from Norwalk, great guy. He was playing bass and doing vocals for us. I mean, when we put Forge to bed a couple years ago, I haven't really talked to John since then. No reason, he's a good guy, but he lives Norwalk, whatever. I was going through my health issues, and we just stopped doing it. And when we decided to do it again, it's just easier just to have the people that are already in house just to do it, especially since it's not something that's. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it was to blow up, then yeah, we'd move on with it. But our main goal is just to. When you've written these songs over a decade ago and nobody's heard them and they're actually really good, you just want to get it out there, and it's just a matter of just putting it all together.
I hear you, man. So, yeah, in closing, man, or as we start to wind down, there's you got quite a few gigs coming up. Yeah, so the Ohio Death Fest with Limb Splitter and Regurgitation, correct?
Yep.
And then I think that other show's at West Side Bowl with Forged in Gore, yeah?
Yeah, with Forged in Gore, Cerebral Necrosis, Mutilatred, and man, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on the other band. It's just been so long. And
it's Sodomized.
No, Sodomized isn't playing that one. Sodomized doesn't have any shows going right now, and it's weird because Mike knows all the songs already. Mike's ready to go. So pretty soon we're going to be booking a Sodomized show. I know that, but not yet. We haven't done one yet. I like to do a matinee show, especially since Fig and I like to take naps. So Sunday matinee shows are great.
Yeah. Yeah, those are rad, dude. I think it's smart because a lot of guys are gonna be going back to work on Monday, so it's one last chance.
Mulciber's playing that show at the West Side Bowl.
Oh,
I can't believe I forgot that it was them because, I mean, obviously we're all huge fans of them, and that was one of the things is they're actually kind of local to there too. So.
Yeah, I know that when I talked to them, they of course said, they love Cleveland, and the, the scene here, but it is not the easiest thing for them to do a lot of shows up here.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely West Side Bowl. That'd be nice that something a bit closer for them.
Killer venue with great pizza.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but it looks really cool. And then I don't know while the show's going on, are people bowling or do they set the stage up over the bowling?
There's some lanes that are still open so people can go knock down some pins, man, while they get drunk and eat their pizza and listen to some raging death metal. It's pretty cool.
Excellent. Hey, man, it's been super cool having you on, man. Just catching up with you and having a chance to, really like delve into just a vast amount of work that you've done over the years, and really awesome that these 4 projects have stood the test of time. um I guess with regurgitation and sodomized limb splitter, probably maybe have been, how would you say, a bit more prominent, but like you said, Forged and Gore, you guys have been working on that for quite a while. And then you're going to be seeing that through as well with the release and the show. So yeah, man, just really happy for you, dude, and happy for everyone involved that things are going well. I'll definitely, maybe a little down the road, I think there's plenty more we could talk about. So love to have you back at a later time, and extending the invitation to anyone else that you're in these bands with to join you on the show here.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I couldn't imagine having me and Joe in here at the same time. That'd be hilarious.
He was really cool.
Rob would be a great interview too, and so would Dylan. But Dylan laughs a lot, so I don't know.
He does have a loud laugh. Yeah. I've gotten better at that with doing these. Like if I know I'm about to laugh, like I'll like turn my head to the side, but it does clip the mic. It is what it is though. There's doesn't need to be perfect, but yeah, we could get Joe, Rob. That'd be great. Be cool to have Kai come in, and anyone involved. So when you hear this, whether you're hearing this now, you hear this on YouTube, on Spotify, go check out the bands that we were talking about: Sodomize, Regurgitation, Limb Splitter, and Forged and Gore, and look out for some of these gigs coming up. Particularly like if you're in Cleveland, they'll be around, but like, yeah, it's, some of these things are going to be happening maybe right by you if you're in England or Texas, right? So yeah, thank you so much, brother, and look forward to our next talk.
Absolutely, man. Now it's time for the long ride home.
All right, y'all. Take care.